like I said, I was drinking that night and I got discombobulated, and I was like, you know what? I'm not about to be a part of this. So that's, like I said, that's when I went out the window and I went back over there. Like, you keep it on, bitch, and I'm gonna end up killing your ass. And then her and Nikki got into it. Maria and Nikki got into it. And Nikki was like, she was like, you keep it on, bitch.
When Maria Best was found dead under circumstances that made no sense at first glance, the quiet routine of her neighborhood shattered instantly. And at the center of it all stood William Elliott, a man who insisted he knew nothing, yet couldn't escape the weight of suspicion around him. What investigators uncovered in the days that followed was a disturbing look into unstable relationships, hidden conflicts, and a chain of events that no one around them had seen coming. This is the story of a case that shocked an entire community. And as detectives dug deeper, they found a man whose calm denial only raised more questions, revealing just how quickly a life can spiral when truth and lies begin to blur. When William Elliott was brought in for questioning, nothing about him suggested he was prepared for what waited behind that door. He sat alone for nearly an hour, tired, confused, and unaware that his entire life was about to shift. What followed was the beginning of an interrogation that would expose tension, contradictions, and a pattern of uncertainty investigators had been watching for days.
William? How you doing? I'm Detective Wooten. Sleepy? So did they tell you why you're down here? Okay.
When Detective Wooten finally stepped into the room, he didn't waste time. He greeted William casually, almost lightly, the kind of tone designed to put someone off guard. The first thing he noticed was how tired William looked. Before anything else, he wanted to see how alert he was, how ready he might be to talk, and whether exhaustion would influence his reactions.
You didn't ask?
Yeah. They said we'll talk about it when we get downtown.
They just told you you had a warrant?
Yeah.
They tell you what it's for?
No.
Then came the first probing moment. Wooten asked if anyone had told him why he'd been brought in. William said no, almost like he'd been moved from place to place without explanation. He added that officers told him they would talk about it downtown, a vague phrase that usually signals the subject didn't push for answers or didn't want to. Wooten didn't accept that. He pushed again, asking whether they had at least explained there was a warrant. William confirmed they had, but only in passing. That's when the detective dropped the real weight. The warrant was for murder.
Murder?
Murder.
Yeah. You have any reason why you have a murder warrant on you?
No.
The moment the word landed, William reacted with confusion. He repeated it back, almost questioning if he'd heard correctly. That hesitation told Wooten a lot. Innocent people usually deny instantly. William didn't. Instead, he stalled, unsure of how to process it. When the detective asked whether he had any idea why he'd be wanted for murder, William said no, and it came out flat, without outrage, disbelief, or urgency. That lack of emotional pushback was its own red flag.
Where are you staying at now?
Same address, 57 South Grove.
57 what?
South Grove.
So what?
57 South Grove.
Grub?
Yeah, Grubbe.
And who's staying there with?
By myself.
Wooten then shifted the conversation to the basics, where he was staying, who he lived with, whether he was working. These weren't random questions. They were grounding questions, meant to measure how stable William's life was, and whether he had anything to lose or hide. And his answers were minimal. He lived alone, he wasn't working, he repeated his address only after the detective made him clarify it several times, which hinted at nervousness or a desire to delay.
You working anywhere? Well, I'd like to talk to you about this. This involves a female by the name of Maria Best. Does that ring a bell? So I'm sure you know what this is.
And then Wooten introduced the real topic, a woman named Maria Best. He brought up her name casually, but the timing wasn't casual at all. Investigators save the key person for when they think the subject is settling in, when defenses start slipping.
And I'd like to obviously get your side of the story with regards to her. But I'm going to read your rights first. Have you had your right to ID before?
Yeah.
Okay.
William recognized the name instantly, and that alone told Wooten he was on the right path. Before going any further, the detective paused to read him his rights. William said he had heard his rights before, that he understood English, could read and write, and didn't have hearing problems. His answers were quick, as if he knew this part well.
You can read and write?
Yeah.
You have any hearing problems?
No.
You need glasses or contacts to read?
Yeah.
Can you read this right here? Can you see this? Yeah, can you see this?
Yeah, barely.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read it out loud to you, so that way if you got any questions. Have you taken any alcohol in the last 12, 24 hours?
Yeah.
How much would you say?
A couple cans.
How long ago?
About an hour ago.
So you had a couple cans about an hour ago? Okay. How many drugs, prescription or illegal?
I take prescription drugs.
Do they alter you in any way?
But when Wooten asked him to read a printed section, William admitted he could barely see it without his glasses. That detail mattered. Detectives often test whether someone will exaggerate limitations later, claiming they didn't understand something or misread something or were too impaired to answer. By stating he could barely see the sheet, William cut off the possibility of using that excuse later.
Would you like to talk to me about this incident?
I just, like I said, this is news to me. So I mean, y'all get me for murder. I'm not understanding how I'm getting charged with
Okay.
murder.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can have a conversation about it. Is that something you want to do?
I mean, I'll answer as much as I can, but yeah.
Okay.
Wooten continued by checking for alcohol or drug use. These questions weren't about health. They were about credibility. William admitted he'd had a couple of beers about an hour earlier. He also told the detective he was on prescription medication, but insisted nothing he took affected his thinking. Again, this removed another potential escape route.
So, tell me, what was your relationship with Maria Best?
She was the girlfriend of my friend Michael.
Michael who?
Like so.
Okay. How long have you known her?
Long time, like 6, 7, maybe 8 years.
When was the last time you saw her?
After that, when William was asked if he wanted to talk about the incident, his reaction was immediate and raw. "Like I said, this is new to me," he said, almost pleading for clarity. "I mean, y'all get me for murder. I'm not understanding how I'm getting charged." The disbelief in his voice was palpable. For someone suddenly confronted with a murder accusation, confusion became his first line of defense.
The night that we stayed with her and the police got called and she kicked us out the apartment.
Why did she kick you guys out?
Because she wanted to be with Michael and Michael didn't want to be with her.
So she made you all leave?
Yeah.
Did you guys have any other issues before that?
The conversation quickly turned toward Maria Best. When asked about her, William explained plainly that she was the girlfriend of his friend Michael. The detective pressed for clarity. Michael who? William stammered slightly, trying to find the right words. Then, when asked how long he had known her, he admitted that it was a long time. 6, 7, or maybe 8 years.
Night before,
What?
we went to the laundromat and her and Michael got into it again, and after that, the police got called to the laundromat, and then she pressed charges on me. She dropped charges, and then after that,
She pressed charges on you?
yeah.
For what?
The detective pressed for details about his last encounter with Maria. William explained that the situation had escalated to the point where the authorities were involved. He told how she insisted that he and the others leave, creating a tense confrontation over her relationship with Michael. It was clear that emotions ran high that night, and William was forced out of the apartment as a result.
I think she put for assault or something like that. I don't know. I left the laundromat.
Okay. So you think she filed some kind of assault charge on you with regards to this laundromat issue?
Yeah, that was the night before, and then we left again that night. I don't know what happened after that, because when I left, I went somewhere else.
As the questioning continued, William described an earlier conflict at a laundromat. He spoke about a heated argument involving Maria and Michael that ended with the police being called.
You went somewhere else? You never went back to her apartment after that?
We went next door to her apartment and dropped our stuff off, and my girlfriend and Michael stayed there, and I left.
Okay. Where did you go?
Out west,
Where at out west?
just hanging out.
William admitted that she had filed charges against him, though he wasn't sure of the exact details, and the uncertainty in his voice made the situation feel heavier.
That's right.
Is there anybody that we can talk to that says that you are out west?
A couple of people.
Do you want to tell me who those are?
Well, I don't know their real names. I know they shortened their nicknames.
The detective then asked where he went after leaving, trying to track his movements. William said he had spent time out west, but could only provide vague information about who could confirm his location. His responses combined a casual tone with clear unease, showing a man struggling to understand why he was being accused and facing scrutiny over past incidents and loose associations.
Where did you meet him at out west?
Right there at the Shell gas station, right there on Broad and Rogers.
Okay. So, the night before you guys got kicked out, there was an incident that happened at the laundromat. Do you know which laundromat?
Right there on Main and I don't know that side street, right across from Walmart.
The detective pressed further, trying to trace William's movements and connections. He asked where he had met the others, and William pointed to a gas station in the out west area, giving a precise intersection. It was a casual answer, but every detail mattered.
We all went to the laundromat. We asked her to fold the clothes. She said she didn't want to fold the clothes, so me and her got into an argument, so I walked off. Then her and Michael got into it. Michael told her to fold the clothes. And like, we was like, well, you're not getting in the car and going home with us then if you're not gonna fold the clothes. So somebody
Whose
else,
clothes were they that needed folded?
her and Michael.
The conversation then turned back to the laundromat incident. The detective probed about whose clothes were involved, and William clarified they were hers and Michael's. He insisted the comments about leaving her behind were just teasing, not serious plans.
Who was driving that day?
The neighbor, Jeremy, something, I don't know his last name.
Would you say
Jeremy?
Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jeremy's driving, and yeah, this thing. So did you guys end up leaving together, or
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah, we ended up going home after that, after the incident.
Next, the detective tried to figure out who was driving that day. William mentioned a neighbor called Jeremy, though he seemed unsure of the full name. He confirmed they all went home together after the police were called, though he had left the scene before authorities arrived. His vague recollections, combined with casual admissions, painted a picture of confusion and tension, a man navigating a series of small conflicts that now loomed far larger under legal inspection.
Michael was like, I'm about to leave. And then she pulled a knife out and threatened to cut herself. And the police came. Well, I'm sitting at the table. Crystal's sitting right here. Michael's sitting right there. But when the police walk in, they grab a knife in front of me and throw it in the sink. And I'm like, well, because we just wanted to call the police.
The detective pressed further, trying to untangle the events of that chaotic night. William recounted a terrifying moment when tensions erupted again, this time with a knife involved. He described the scene in chilling detail. Michael and Crystal were present, and the woman suddenly threatened to harm herself. Police arrived, immediately confiscating the weapon. William's voice carried disbelief as he questioned why the officers had acted so abruptly, despite him explaining that he had called them to prevent a suicide.
And we're like, well, so y'all just gonna leave her by herself so she can commit suicide? And that's when the cop was like, well, y'all gotta go. So I left. And then Crystal and Michael called me and it was like, well, we gotta put all our stuff next door at Jeremy's house. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna stay around the corner until everything calms down.
So you left and...
The confrontation ended with everyone being forced to leave the apartment. William stayed nearby, uncertain where to go, while Crystal and Michael moved their belongings next door. Eventually, Jeremy picked him up so he could collect a few things and catch a bus out west.
What time did you get on the bus?
I don't know, it was probably like 11, 12 maybe. Because buses start running at 12, so it's probably like 10 or 11, somewhere around there.
He wasn't sure of the exact time, estimating it was late evening, around 10 or 11. He boarded the number 10 bus, his mind occupied with the night's turmoil.
So did you talk to anybody the rest of that night?
I talked to Crystal.
And what Crystal said?
Nothing. She was upset. She asked me why I left, and I told her I didn't want to be bothered with the situation, so I told her I'll probably see her tomorrow.
Okay. But Crystal stayed there?
Yeah, at Jeremy's.
Okay.
Her and Michael.
Even while traveling, William's thoughts remained tied to the chaos he had left behind. He spoke briefly with Crystal, who was upset and wanted to know why he had walked away. William explained that he wanted to avoid the mess, promising he would see her the next day. Meanwhile, Crystal and Michael stayed behind at Jeremy's, managing the aftermath of a night that had spiraled far beyond anyone's control. And just then, another name entered the interrogation.
Who's Nikki?
She's a close friend.
Of you or Michael?
All of us.
How long you known her?
Long time.
Where'd she go?
I don't know.
The detective's question shifted to other people present that night. That's when William mentioned a woman named Nikki, a friend connected to the group. She wasn't romantically involved with anyone and had only come by briefly. When the police arrived, Nikki was there, but she didn't stay long once everyone else was asked to leave. William admitted he didn't know where she went afterward, leaving a sense of uncertainty about her movements that night, because he was mad. Another lead of the case.
After the police left and you went back to Jeremy's to get your pants before you got on the bus, how long were you inside the apartment?
Maybe 20, 30 minutes. Long enough to tell Crystal I love her, gave her a kiss, and she gave me a couple of dollars and I left.
How long have you two been together?
The conversation then turned to William's brief return to retrieve the belongings from Jeremy's apartment. He spent only about 20 to 30 minutes there, exchanging a few words and gestures of affection with Crystal before leaving. Despite the short stay, he was careful to note the minimal interaction with Jeremy, someone he had barely met, and whose apartment had temporarily housed their things.
We just met him like a couple days before that.
Oh, so you don't really know him that well.
Yeah.
So why would he let you guys keep your stuff over there?
I don't know, because I guess he's seen how, because he didn't like Maria for some reason. I don't know. He kept saying he didn't like her.
So when did you find out what happened to Maria?
The next day.
The detective focused on establishing how well William and the others knew Jeremy, and William admitted they had only just met him. The casual arrangement for storing belongings now seemed precarious under scrutiny, highlighting how fragile and improvised their plans were.
So when did you find out what happened to Maria?
The next day.
Who told you?
Michael and Kristen.
What'd they say?
They was like, Maria's dead.
What'd you say to that?
I was like, wow, like, what happened? And they was like, well, we don't know. She got stabbed or something like that.
Finally, the topic shifted to the aftermath of the tragedy. William recalled learning about Maria's death the next day from Michael and Crystal. The news hit him like a shockwave. He struggled to process it, unable to comprehend exactly what had happened or how the police had been involved.
They say anything about the police showing up or anything like that?
Yeah, they said they both got brought downtown or something like that, or I don't know. I was distraught because I was like, wow, I was like, so they're probably put it on me. And she was like, why would you say that? I said, because the night before she pressed charges on me and then dropped charges. And she was like, yeah, probably.
William immediately worried that the previous night's altercations and dropped charges might make him a suspect. The detective carefully noted his reactions, revealing the mixture of fear, confusion, and disbelief that painted a man suddenly thrust into a horrifying crime.
So how often have you talked to Michael and Crystal since then?
Here and there.
Did they tell you the police were looking for you?
Well, actually, Michael said that they might want to talk to me.
That's all he said, that they might want to talk to you?
The detective shifted the focus to William's contacts after the incident. He asked how often he had spoken with Michael and Crystal since everything happened. William admitted it was here and there, keeping things casual, though the faint tension in his voice hinted at worry.
Where at?
Different places. Like I seen Michael downtown one time, and then I seen Nikki out west, and then I seen Crystal a couple days ago.
Does Nikki stay out west?
Mm-hmm.
She got a house out there?
She stays in Orlando.
With anybody else?
Bunch of people.
The conversation then turned to sightings. William described running into Michael downtown, Nikki out west, and Crystal just a few days prior. The detective drilled further about Nikki's living situation. William explained she was staying in a rundown house with several other people, involved in drugs and does whatever. A brief but chilling glimpse into a chaotic environment surrounding the case.
You know where it's at?
Broad and Rogers is that next street behind there.
So it's the next street behind Broad and Rogers?
Like here's Broad and here's Rogers, that next street. Like if you turn over Rogers.
He also outlined the location carefully, a street behind Broad and Rogers, painting a small map in the air with his hands.
Have you ever been back over to this apartment building where Maria lives since she died?
Mm-mm.
Have you talked to that Jeremy at all?
A couple times.
Well, what'd you talk to him about?
Attention then turned to Jeremy and the apartment where William had previously stored his belongings. William had visited a few times since the incident, mainly to retrieve items and handle minor disputes. One issue involved Crystal's missing purse.
And we kind of went back and forth, and I told him, I said, well, because he kept telling me he wasn't allowed back in his apartment until they had an investigation. And then finally, I guess when his apartment got released, he got in touch with Crystal and told her she can come get her stuff and everything, whatever.
William explained the back and forth with Jeremy, who had taken the purse, and a third party, Jess, who confirmed seeing it in Jeremy's car.
But all I need you to do is return her purse, because her ID, birth certificate, and everything in there. So we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and I was like, man, if you don't return her purse, we're going to have some problems. And after that, I haven't talked to him since.
So you were trying to get Crystal's purse back?
Yeah.
What did her purse look like?
It was like a brown, like snakeskin looking purse.
William stressed the importance of its contents, ID, birth certificate, and other essentials. He also expressed his frustration, warning that failing to return it could cause problems. The detective pressed for details about the purse. William described it as brown, like snakeskin, the kind that goes over their shoulders. The story took another tense turn when William revealed Crystal intended to press charges because Jeremy had allegedly claimed the police took her purse.
But see, Crystal has this app thing, alert on her phone that somebody just recently tried to use her chime card at Speedway on 51 in Cleveland. They just tried to use it recently. So we know now.
Did she call the police about that?
Well, she was supposed to go down there and file a report, but I haven't talked to her since that.
William couldn't understand why authorities would do that, adding to the confusion. He then mentioned the final piece of the puzzle, a suspicious attempt to use Crystal's chime card at a speedway, which added another layer of intrigue. The detective could sense William's unease growing. The threads of this case were stretching wider, pulling more people and events into a story that was far from over.
What card was it you tried to use?
A chime card.
What's a chime card?
No, you're not hip to a chime card? It's a white and green card. Chime. You don't never see the commercial for chime?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I don't watch commercials. So it's called a chime card?
Yeah.
And it was Crystal's?
Yeah.
The detective turned to the matter of the card, trying to understand the unusual activity. William explained that Crystal was supposed to file a report, but hadn't, and he hadn't spoken to her since. The card in question was a chime card, a small detail, yet one that tied into the broader chaos of that night.
And somebody tried to use it where?
At Speedway on 161 in Cleveland. Well, actually, two speedways. The other speedway down the road, but I don't know what road that is. They tried to buy a pack of cigarettes or something.
Someone had attempted to use it at two separate speedway locations in Cleveland, trying to make small purchases, the detective noted, while William tracked the locations with uneasy precision.
To be honest with you, I think that if somebody did kill her, and I don't like really talking to the police or nothing, but honestly, I think if somebody did kill her, it would probably have to be either Nikki or Michael. Because that night that Nikki came over.
Then the conversation took a darker turn. William hesitated, then spoke cautiously, suggesting that if Maria had been killed, the likely culprits could be Nikki or Michael. He began recounting a violent moment he had witnessed. Michael put Maria's head through the wall, he said, the words hanging heavy in the room. William described the chaos, the three of them rushing into the bedroom, Crystal and Nikki present, trying to make sense of the violence. Michael's frustration spilled over, his words sharp and angry. "She won't let me leave. She won't let me stay."
And we heard this loud noise, so we went in the bedroom.
Whose head through the wall?
Michael put Maria's head through the wall.
Ah.
There's a hole in the wall by the door into the bathroom. And we ran in the bedroom, me, Crystal, and Nikki, and he was like, "What's going on?" And he was like, "I'm tired of this bitch, with Will." And I'm like, "What happened?"
The scene left a visible mark on the wall, a reminder of how far tempers had escalated. The story didn't end there. Nikki's confrontation with Maria was equally alarming. William recalled her threatening words, "You keep on it, bitch. I'm gonna end up killing your ass."
She was like, "You keep it on, bitch, and I'm gonna end up killing your ass," or some shit like that.
That was before the police?
This was, yeah.
So Michael put her head through the wall?
Yeah.
And Nikki threatened her?
Yeah.
The reason, he explained, was Nikki's belief that Maria didn't need to be involved with Michael, that he could do better. Tensions, old and unresolved, had boiled over Michael's anger, Nikki's threats, and Maria caught in the center. Past rivalries, lingering feelings, and volatile personalities collided in a single night, leaving a fear and uncertainty that would later ripple through the investigation.
Maria put us out. Nikki and Mike, I did overhear Nikki and Michael talking about trying to hook up. She was like, "Well, now that you're not with that bitch no more, we can do our thing." This is before I left, when we was next door to Germany.
That was before you left?
Yeah.
Was that when you came back to get pants?
Yeah.
The detective leaned in, sensing the story was far from over, and brought up Nikki again. William admitted he had overheard her and Michael talking about trying to hook up, right after Maria forced them out. Nicky had told him, "Now that you're not with that no more, we can do our thing." It was a quiet exchange he caught before returning to grab his clothes from Jeremy's place.
So when you came back to get clothes, you didn't really talk to the guy that lives there, that Jeremy. You didn't really talk to him.
No, he was in the bedroom, Crystal was sitting on the couch, and Michael and Nikki was sitting on the floor by the front door.
Other than getting your clothes, did you get anything else?
Well, my hygiene bag, that was it.
Inside the apartment, he said Jeremy stayed in the bedroom. Crystal sat on the couch, and Michael and Nikki were on the floor. William insisted he only grabbed his hygiene bag and clothes, then left. According to him, nothing seemed planned, and no one mentioned going anywhere.
Do you remember at all going to a Turkey Hill, the bar or the gas station, Turkey Hill gas station?
I think that was early that night. I think we went to go get cigarettes or something.
Who did that? Who went?
Me, Crystal, Jeremy, I think Michael was with us.
Did you go inside the Turkey Hill?
I think so.
The detective then asked about Turkey Hill. William remembered going earlier in the night for cigarettes, saying he had been drinking, and the timeline was blurry.
You know how DNA works?
Hmm?
Okay. I got a search warrant signed by a judge so I can get your DNA. Now, when we look at your DNA, you think we're going to find anything matching anything at Maria's apartment?
From there, the questions shifted sharply. The detective explained he had a warrant for William's DNA and asked whether anything from Maria's apartment might match him.
You talking about fingerprints all over the apartment? Because, I mean, we did stay there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only thing you're going to find, yeah. I admit to that. You're probably going to find fingerprints there because we stayed there.
William said only normal fingerprints, since they had stayed there before. But the detective pushed harder. He told William he knew the story about getting on a bus wasn't true.
11 o'clock tonight. Okay. I know you were back in Maria's apartment several times throughout the night after you guys had gotten kicked out. I mean, I know that you had to have seen that there's a police station right across the street.
Yeah, I know that.
And that there's an OSU hospital right across the street.
He explained there were cameras everywhere across the street at the police station and at the OSU hospital, pointing directly at the apartment doors. Every movement in and out had been recorded.
And going to Maria's apartment and back and forth. I also talked to Crystal. I also talked to Michael. They did not do you any favors. So if you want to go alone on this, that's entirely up to you.
So you didn't do me no favors?
They didn't do you any favors. They're not, their story, their statement about you and the things that occurred that night.
Then came another blow. Crystal and Michael had spoken to police, and their statements didn't match his. The detective said that he had evidence showing William was inside when Maria was killed.
12:30 at night.
Yeah, they didn't show up till 12:30 to kick you guys out. They all had body cams on. Everything's documented.
What time? So, okay, so you telling me...
So you didn't get on the bus?
It had to be before 12:30.
No,
when the
it
police
wasn't.
came.
I'm not lying to you. I know what time it was.
William looked confused, asking why they would put this on him. The detective corrected him that no one was putting anything on him. The timeline itself disproved what he had said. The officers had arrived at 12:30 a.m., not earlier. Their body cameras recorded everything, including William telling them they couldn't enter and then storming off.
Everything's on video. And when the police showed up, you showed your ass telling them they couldn't come in the apartment, and then you stormed off.
Yeah.
Right. That was not at 9, 10 o'clock. You didn't catch no bus that night. You didn't go out west. The video camera from OSU Hospital shows everything.
He insisted again that the bus story was impossible. No buses were running at that hour. The OSU hospital camera covered every entrance, every door opening, every person going in or out.
If you want to tell me exactly what happened that night, okay, listen, you don't need to lie to me. If you don't want to talk to me, say you don't want to talk. But if you're going to lie to me, don't waste your time.
Because you're trying to say you putting a murder case on me, saying that I went in there and I did something to that girl?
Mm-hmm.
The detective told him bluntly I know you weren't in there by yourself. William, pressured from every side, pushed back. You're trying to say I went in there and I did something to that girl? The detective answered without hesitation. That's exactly what I'm saying. William's voice shook as he insisted, I would have never hurt that girl, ever, denying any involvement.
How do you know?
Because she was the only one left in there.
Nikki was the only one left in there?
Yeah.
Because Crystal said when she went back over there, Nikki came and got her, and when she went back over there, you were sitting in there, you were Nikki, you guys were all threatening her, Nikki kicked her in the face. Crystal freaked out and left, and you were still in there.
Yeah, that's true. But I left after
So
that.
you're lying, you already met.
As the questioning intensified, William revealed that he had left the apartment before the fatal stabbing occurred. He insisted that he was not present when the attack happened, making it clear he had left prior to Maria being stabbed. Shockingly, he identified Nikki as the one responsible, explaining that she was the only person left in the apartment at that point.
So now you want to try and tell the actual story of what actually happened?
Before that happened, yes, Nikki did kick her in the head. I left.
Who was beating her up before that?
Michael did. The first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie about that.
Then you were just sitting there. You didn't have anything to do with it.
The detective pressed further, pointing out Crystal's account that when she returned, Nikki had physically assaulted Maria, kicking her in the face, while William remained inside. William admitted this, but stressed that he left immediately afterward.
No, I didn't touch her at all. That's God's honest truth.
No point did you ever touch her.
No.
Okay. Why is your DNA all over the rubber gloves you guys used?
Now that I don't have no problem with because I didn't touch nothing in there at all. All I know is that when I went in there, Nikki was like, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
He acknowledged that Michael had assaulted Maria earlier in the night, but insisted he had no involvement in the violence, claiming he did not touch her at all. The situation escalated when the detective confronted him about his DNA being found on rubber gloves recovered from the scene. William was stunned, insisting he had not worn gloves or touched anything during the events, even as the officer explained that his DNA had been linked to multiple pieces of evidence, including the gloves and a knife.
I didn't have no rubber gloves on at all.
I mean, you can go by yourself, or you can tell me exactly what happened, and we can charge the other people involved in this. It doesn't matter to me.
I didn't kill that girl.
The officer gave him an ultimatum. He could either tell the full truth and clarify what happened, potentially implicating others, or face the consequences alone. William adamantly denied killing Maria, insisting that he had no role in her death.
How many times you stabbed her?
I don't know, like 6 or 7. After 7-1, I left and went out the window. I was trying to see her get done.
She stabbed a lot more than 6 or 7.
After 6 or 7, I went out the back window. I was like, I'm not about to be a part of this.
You went out the back window.
Under pressure, William broke and identified Nikki as the one who had stabbed Maria. He estimated she had stabbed her 6 or 7 times, but even he admitted later that it was more than that. In a shocking revelation, he explained that after the initial stabbings, he had climbed out the back window, trying to remove himself from the situation entirely. The detective noted that other accounts suggested he fled when the police arrived, but William clarified that he left during the stabbing, not during the police intervention.
The next day?
In the morning, when the police got called about her.
No, because I went out the window probably like right after Jeremy left. I go out the front door, wherever he went at. I was way gone before then.
Did Nikki go with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Nikki went out the back window of Jeremy's apartment.
Yeah. Well, the night that Maria got stabbed.
He revealed that Nikki had gone with him out the window of Maria's apartment, and later they had left Jeremy's apartment the same way, fearing they might be implicated if authorities were called. William repeatedly insisted he had no part in the stabbing, emphasizing, "I'm not the one that killed her. I'm not the one that stabbed."
We went back to the apartment, and
Do you remember where exactly it was they picked you up at?
Mount Vernon, I think it was.
Okay. So they picked you up somewhere on Mount Vernon?
Yeah, over by that little drive-through.
All right, so and then you guys go back to the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened?
Then we was sitting there.
And then William explained the pickup location on Mount Vernon, detailing how they returned to the apartment after he was collected. The detective left the question hanging. What happened next inside the apartment, setting the stage for the next shocking details of that night.
And Michael was like, oh, you know, I made a key, we can get back in. And I was like, okay. He was like, I said, what do y'all want to do? And Nikki was like, well, I want to go over and beat her ass. So that's when we went back over there.
Okay, so who all went back over?
The next part of William's story took an even darker turn. After the police forced them out earlier, the group didn't stay away for long. William said they were sitting together when Michael casually mentioned that he had made his own key. He told them they could get back inside Maria's apartment anytime. That alone shifted the atmosphere. Before he could even question it, Nikki made her intention clear. She said she wanted to go over and beat her ass. That was the moment the three of them decided to return.
Me, Michael, and Nikki.
Okay. And that was the first time you guys went back over after the police had kicked you out?
Yeah.
And where was Crystal at then?
I think she was at Germany's.
Right. Was she awake or was she asleep?
It was only William, Michael, and Nikki who went back. Crystal stayed behind in the other apartment and didn't even know they had left because she was in the bathroom. William didn't tell her anything. They simply stormed out.
Michael used the key to open the door, and then what?
We went in, she was by the door, so Nikki pushed the door and Maria fell down and she started beating her up, and then she was screaming for me and Michael, and Michael, no, she had a knife in her hand, and Michael
Who had a knife in her hand?
Maria did.
With the key Michael had made, they opened Maria's door. She was standing near the entrance when the door swung inward. Nikki shoved it hard, knocking Maria to the ground, and immediately started attacking her. Maria screamed for help, calling out to William and Michael, begging them to stop Nikki. At some point, Maria grabbed a knife, but before she could use it, Michael snatched it from her hand and threw it across the room. That's what William said. It's not the truth. All made up lies, which will open up very soon.
I was just sitting in the chair, smoking a cigarette, and she was yelling for us. She was like, make her stop, make him stop. And then, like, me and Michael was like, what did I say? I said something in the line like, why would you make us go through this, something like this? Why would you get us kicked out? You know what I'm saying? Like, we had everything made or something like that.
William claimed he didn't join in. He said he sat in a chair smoking, watching everything happen while Maria begged for someone to make her stop. He remembered asking why she had caused all this drama, why they had been kicked out in the first place, acting like he was more annoyed than alarmed. Nikki didn't slow down. She kept kicking Maria repeatedly. Eventually, William told the others they should leave, acting like it was already going too far.
And Nikki was like, I'm not done. So
how was she when you left that time?
They went back next door, but Nikki wasn't finished. As soon as they reached the other apartment, she said, I'm not done. When the detective asked how Maria was left on the floor after that first attack, William described her condition: lying down, bruised, and dazed, slipping in and out of consciousness. But he claimed he didn't worry about her calling the police because, in his words, I didn't do nothing to her.
And then what?
then, like, Crystal was like, what's going on? And I was like, Nikki just beat the shit out of Maria. And she just started shaking her head, like, so I was like, well, I'm about to go take me a walk. And then that's when me and Michael went over to check on her.
Once they were back next door, Crystal asked what happened. William told her that Nikki beat the shit out of Maria, and Crystal just shook her head. He tried to walk away from the situation, but instead ended up going back with Michael to check on Maria. That's when Nikki followed and announced a chilling threat to do her in.
And she stabbed me in her shoulder, and she stabbed her in her chest or something like that. So I look at Michael. Michael starts having a seizure. So I help make out a seizure, and then he goes, no, Crystal came over, and she was like, what's going on? When she see that, she was like, oh, I'm not trying to be a part of this. So her and Michael go back next door.
This time it escalated instantly. The knife Michael had thrown earlier was still on the floor. Nikki picked it up. William said she stabbed Maria in the shoulder and then in the chest. When he saw the blood, the scene spiraled into chaos. Michael, overwhelmed, started having a seizure right there in the room. William said he tried to help him.
To Jeremy's. And like, I think I said it was like 6 or 7 times after Nikki stabbed her, and I seen that blood was coming out of her chest and stuff. I went out the back window and went back over to Jeremy's.
Why'd you go out the back window?
Because I wasn't trying to be a part of that.
William then said that Crystal walked in during this moment and froze when she saw what Nikki was doing. She wanted nothing to do with it and rushed out, dragging Michael with her back to the neighboring apartment.
That's what made him go into a seizure.
That's what I mean. So you go back over to Maria's, it's you, Nikki, and Michael. She then gets the knife and starts stabbing Maria. Michael starts having a seizure.
I get him out of seizure.
How do you get him out of a seizure?
William said Nikki didn't stop after the first few strikes. He estimated it was 6 or 7 times before he panicked and climbed out the back window. He described seeing blood pouring from Maria's chest and knowing he had to run before anyone saw him leaving the front of the building. The detective pressed William about the window. He said he wanted distance, claimed only he, Nikki, and Michael were there, and that he just helped with the seizure before fleeing.
By that time, Maria had already been stabbed a few times.
Yeah, like up in here.
Up in the chest area?
Yeah.
And was Maria still dressed at that point?
Dressed. Yeah, she had on clothes.
Yeah, she was fully clothed?
Yeah.
Okay.
William said Crystal only saw the aftermath, not the stabbing. But the detective knew he was lying. She corrected him. Crystal saw Nikki kick Maria. By then, Maria was badly wounded, helpless, and still dressed.
And then Maria don't want to be involved, so she leaves.
Maria.
I'm sorry. Crystal don't want to be involved, so she leaves.
Because she said, Michael, come on, and that's when her and Michael...
So she takes Michael with her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Crystal wanted no part of the spiraling violence. She grabbed Michael and left immediately, pulling him out of the apartment the moment she realized how far things had gone. That left only 2 people in that room with the dying woman, William and Nikki.
And what do you say?
I was like, sis, I said, you really trying to kill her? And she was like, yeah, fuck this bitch. And I was like, well, I'm out of here.
Why was she so angry?
I don't know.
But you did see her stab her a few more times before you left.
That's when things crossed the final line. William said Nikki stabbed her again several more times. He claimed he confronted her in disbelief, asking, "You really trying to kill her?" And she responded with chilling certainty, calling Maria a name and pressing on.
So, and then you go out the window and you go back, where? Back over to Jeremy's?
Back over to Jeremy's.
Okay. And then what do you do?
I lay down with Crystal and go to sleep.
With that, he decided to save himself and escape the only way he thought he could, through the window. He didn't want to risk being seen leaving through the front door covered in suspicion. He climbed out and went straight back to the neighboring apartment where Crystal was. He lay down next to her and acted like the night was over, pretending sleep could erase what he had just watched.
And what happened?
Then, like, I heard Jeremy get up and he was getting ready to leave. And he was like, where are you going? And he said something about taking his brother to court. And I was like, no, that don't sound right. So I got up, brushed my teeth, and I was like, well, I'm out of here. And then I went out the window. And
The next morning started quietly. Jeremy got up early, claiming he needed to take his brother to court. Something about that excuse felt off to William. After brushing his teeth, he climbed out the window again and tried to distance himself. That's when Crystal called, panicked, saying the police had arrived.
And like, Crystal calls me and she was like, the police are here. I'm like, police are where?
Wait, you said Nikki went with you.
Yeah, Nikki went out the window with me. Yeah.
So did you guys talk, say we're getting out of here, or what?
No, I went out first. I started walking down the street, and then when I looked back, Nikki was following me, and I'm like, where are you going?
And what'd she say?
And she was like, I'm getting up out of here. And I'm like, why? What happened?
The detective stopped him earlier. William said Nikki escaped with him. He confirmed it. She followed him out the window too. They didn't plan it. He said he walked away first, only noticing her behind him when she caught up. When he asked why she was leaving, she said she was getting up out of here, which only made him suspicious.
And then that's when I asked her, I was like, did you kill her? And she was like, we'll talk about it later. And I'm like, well, I'm not about to be around you. So I went my way and she went her way.
But I thought you guys were pretty close.
I mean, we're close, but we're not that.
William finally asked her the question burning in his mind. Did you kill her? Nikki didn't deny it. She only said, we'll talk about it later. That answer was enough for him to distance himself immediately. He split off and left her behind.
Like, I've been knowing her for a long time, on and off. I didn't think it would ever come to that. I didn't think that she would go that far. I mean, I know her and Maria had problems before, and she threatened to beat her up and whatever, but I didn't think it'd go that far.
The detective pointed out how close they were, but William tried to downplay the relationship. He said they knew each other for years, but not enough for him to think she would go that far. He admitted they had tension with Maria before, including threats, but even he didn't expect it to end with an attack like this. The room fell quiet again.
Did you try to help clean up?
No.
Sure?
Positive. Like I said, after I seen her stab her a couple more times, I went out the window and I was like, no, I'm done. I'm cool.
The detective pushed him harder now. He wanted clarity, not another vague answer. The first question was simple. Did he help clean anything? And the man kept insisting he didn't. He said he had no part in wiping anything down, moving anything, or trying to hide what happened. He stuck to one line. He walked out and refused to be part of it.
Now, I told you that there's video.
Yeah, I know.
You can see how many times people go in and out of each apartment.
Yeah, I know.
And obviously you're the biggest dude out of all of them. We can tell when you go in and tell when you come out. Now, did you go back in and try and help clean up the apartment?
No, I did not. That's no lie.
But the detective wasn't convinced. He told him there was a video. He explained that they could tell exactly when each person entered and left the apartment. And because the suspect was the largest one in the group, his movements were the easiest to identify. That was the moment things shifted. The detective repeated the question again. Did he go back inside to help clean? And again, he said no.
And I climbed out the window and I was like, I'm not trying to be a part of this. Because I didn't want my fingerprints to be on the window.
Where'd you get the rubber gloves?
They was already in the apartment because we used them for cleaning up. Like, you know, when we mopped and swept and everything.
They were in Maria's apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Then came the part that made the detective stop everything. The moment the man admitted he put on rubber gloves before climbing out the window. Not for the stabbing, not out of fear of blood, just to leave. The detective was stunned.
Now, you can't be lying to me.
I know.
Because those gloves belonged to Jeremy. Those were his rubber gloves that he used to put in catheters. You asked Jeremy if he had rubber gloves.
No, Nikki asked him if he had rubber gloves.
No, you asked Jeremy if he had rubber gloves.
He's
and
lying.
Michael got the rubber gloves.
He's lying.
And that's when he dropped something that changed the tone entirely. He said those gloves weren't from the apartment at all. They belonged to Jeremy. They were the ones he used for medical work.
So Jeremy did give Nikki some gloves. I'm not going to lie about that. But there were some already in Maria's apartment when we got in.
Jeremy said he didn't give anybody gloves. He said that Michael came and got the box of gloves and you guys put gloves on.
No.
And your DNA's on the gloves.
It probably is. Like I said, I put them on when I went out the window. I do remember that now.
So you put on gloves to go out a window?
Yeah.
Suddenly, the man's explanation fell apart. His version of where the gloves came from kept shifting. He pressed harder. He told him that Jeremy claimed he was the one who asked for gloves. But the suspect kept denying it, saying the question came from someone else, not him. He couldn't explain why the story didn't match. He couldn't explain why he would need gloves if he wasn't cleaning anything. He couldn't explain why his DNA would be on them.
But you didn't put on gloves for anything else that was going on inside the apartment?
Nothing else.
Even though why would you do that? Why would you put on gloves to leave?
Because after I seen her stabbing...
You'd already been in there when they were stabbing.
Right, but I'm saying after she started stabbing her, I was like, I'm not about to be a part of this, so I put them on. That's when I climbed out the window. I bet you them gloves I had on probably ain't got none of her blood on there.
The detective asked again, why put them on only to leave? The man's answer was the same. He said after seeing the stabbing, he wanted out. And he kept saying that he did it to climb out the window.
So when Michael and Jeremy, or Michael and Nikki come in here, and they're going to say that you helped clean up.
Clean up what?
Clean up her apartment. It's obvious that somebody tried to clean up the apartment.
Well, it wasn't me.
Okay.
But the detective wasn't letting it go. He told him that others had already given statements. They said he stayed longer. They said he helped. They said he was involved in the mess left behind. And the detective warned him this was his chance to tell the full truth before the others locked in their stories. The man kept holding his ground. He said he didn't clean anything, didn't move anything, didn't fix anything.
And this all unfolds. Don't say that I didn't give you an opportunity first.
I don't know what else you want me to tell you. Like I said, I told you everything that happened. I know Nikki started stabbing her, and like I said, I put on the gloves and I went out the window. And you could ask Crystal and them when
And what do
she
you think
woke up.
Nikki's going to say? She's going to say, oh yeah, I started stabbing her and he put on gloves around
She's
her.
probably not going to admit to it.
The detective finally stopped hinting and started warning him. He told him straight, once the others were arrested, he couldn't say he wasn't given a chance. That's when his confidence cracked. He kept saying he had told everything, but every time he pushed, something new slipped out.
But I'll take a lie to take the test.
Okay.
Jeremy said I asked for the gloves. That's a lie right there.
He admitted he knew who started the violence. He said he saw Nikki stabbing Maria, and that he put on gloves before climbing through a window to get away. He kept saying it like it somehow cleared him. The detective asked what Nikki would say. He knew the answer. She's probably not going to admit it.
And if Michael and Crystal was probably there and they was listening, I guarantee they'd probably tell you I didn't ask for the gloves. Nikki asked for the gloves.
Okay.
He tried shifting the focus onto the others. He swore that Jeremy had already told detectives he wasn't the one who asked for gloves. He insisted Nikki asked for them. He kept repeating that detail like it was his shield.
So who changed the locks in the apartment?
We did.
Who's we?
Me, Jeremy, Michael, and...
So I just got done asking you if there was anything else that I might need to know.
I forgot about that because he was the one who said they wanted, after Maria had left, he was the one like, oh, we could switch locks. That was actually Jeremy's idea for real.
Then the detective moved to something he clearly hoped had been forgotten, the locks. Suddenly, he admitted they had swapped the locks on Maria's door earlier that same night. He said it was him, Jeremy, and Michael. He claimed they replaced Maria's lock with Jeremy's. He blamed it on paranoia, saying Michael thought Maria would call the police, and Jeremy believed someone with a key was entering his own apartment.
It was like,
Why would Jeremy?
because he said something about his brother or somebody had the keys to his apartment. He think when his brother or somebody was coming in and taking his stuff.
So when did you guys change your locks?
See, that's a good question. I think it was right after Maria left early that night, before the police came.
The detective questioned every part of it. The more he challenged him, the more confused his timeline became.
So you guys changed the locks before?
We switched his lock with her lock.
And what was the reason for that?
Because Jeremy said that, no, Michael was like, well, I think she's gonna go call the police and get us kicked out. And Jeremy told Michael, like, y'all can switch, we can switch locks.
When he asked who had access to Maria's apartment after that, he confessed Michael still had the key. That meant all of them could get back in without her knowing. The detective didn't hide how suspicious that sounded.
You didn't try to stop her?
I mean,
you're a big dude. Nicky's a little drug addict.
I
You didn't care that she was stabbing this?
I did, but it was like, I had so much to drink that night. Like I said, everything happened so fast. And then I was like, after I seen her do it and I seen the blood coming out, I was like...
Then he confronted him about the stabbing. He asked him why he didn't stop it. He had no real answer. He kept blaming alcohol. He tried describing himself as frozen, shocked, overwhelmed. He said he saw blood and wanted nothing to do with it, which is why he climbed out the window and left Nicky behind with Maria.
So what did the knife look like she was using?
Like a little knife, maybe, something like, maybe that big.
Color handle?
I didn't pay attention, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just know it was a knife. It was dark.
Can you say it was about that big?
Maybe so, probably like that.
When the detective asked about the weapon, he said Maria held a small silver knife at first, but the knife Nicky used came from the utensil holder in the kitchen. He thought it was a different one. He didn't know where she'd put it afterward. He said he left before she was done.
Nicky's a monster. She could be detrimental.
So did she make you nervous? Were you scared of her?
Not really, but I know what she's capable of doing.
Okay.
The detective kept circling back to safety. Why he wasn't afraid of Nicky if he thought she was dangerous. He slipped again and called her a monster. He said she could be detrimental, but insisted he wasn't scared enough to think she'd hurt him. Yet he admitted that when he woke up later and found her sleeping on the floor, he stayed wide awake.
I told Crystal I love her and I gave her a kiss and I threw my shoes on, brushed my teeth, and I went out the window, and like I said, I got like all the way down by, what's that side street? It's right before, I think it's Champion.
And Crystal didn't ask why you were leaving? Did Crystal ask you about anything that happened over there that night afterwards?
William added that he didn't believe Jeremy's excuse about picking up his brother for court. He thought Jeremy was going to the police. He said Crystal didn't question why he was leaving. He claimed he kissed her, told her he loved her, then crawled out the window.
That's when she, it was the next day. I called her dad's house and her dad was like, she's not allowed to talk to you or something. So then I went through another friend and I got in touch with her on Facebook.
When the detective asked what Crystal said afterward, he described how she later told him police ordered her not to talk to him because investigators believed he and Nicky were responsible. He insisted she once told him, "I know you wouldn't do it." But the detective corrected him. He said, Crystal did not say that to the police.
No, like I said, that's not what she told me.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is, I got a judge signed a search warrant. I'm going to take your DNA again. And then you're going to jail. You probably won't be in there alone for long.
Then he dropped the bomb. He had a judge-signed warrant. His DNA was going to be taken again, and he was not going home. He gave him one more chance.
Brought up the lock thing, and I forgot all about the lock thing.
The lock thing just seems a little, I just don't understand why you guys would have changed locks.
I just told you why.
But that doesn't make any sense.
It does, if you think about it, because Michael said that he thought that Maria was going to go call the police and get us kicked out.
He said the only thing he forgot was the lock change, but the detective didn't buy that. He repeated how strange it was. Why would they secretly change Maria's lock hours before she died? His explanation didn't satisfy him. He blamed everyone else. He said, everybody wants to lie now. He reminded him that he was the one who lied first.
You weren't okay with this. Why you would just let Nikki just stab on this girl?
Because after the first couple times, and I was like, what are you trying to do? Like, you really trying to kill her? And like I said, I was drinking that night, and I got discombobulated, and I was like, you know what? I'm not about to be a part of this. So that's, like I said, that's when I went out the window, and I went back over there.
When he asked why he let the attack continue, he admitted he knew exactly what Nikki was doing. He asked her, what are you trying to do, kill her? But instead of stopping anything, he left.
At Maria's. How long were you
I think
there?
it was like 2 or 3 weeks.
What was the arrangement? Why were you guys staying there? What was the deal? Were you paying rent?
We'd buy her cigarettes and stuff like that, kept food in the house.
How'd you have money coming in?
Crystal working, and then I'll go out and do side jobs.
He finally revealed how long they had been staying in Maria's place. 2 or 3 weeks. They weren't paying rent. They contributed cigarettes, food, and whatever money Crystal earned. Michael received Social Security insurance. He didn't know where Michael's checks actually went.
People lying, like Jeremy said I asked for some gloves. Well, I know I wasn't that damn drunk where I didn't know that he said, I know Nikki asked for them gloves, I know that.
Well, Jeremy's not the only one that said you asked for gloves.
Then came his biggest moment of panic. He said Jeremy claimed he asked for gloves, but he insisted he didn't. He couldn't believe others were blaming him. The detective warned him that nobody in this case would protect anyone else. The first one who talked would save themselves.
So whatever time it was that I woke Krista up, she could tell you exactly that Nikki didn't come back with me. I guarantee you that's what Krista would tell you. And no, Michael was still up, because Michael was on his phone.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me?
He insisted he had an alibi, that when he climbed through the window and laid with Crystal, she woke up immediately. He said she'd confirmed Nikki didn't leave with him. The detective asked when he last spoke to Crystal. He said a few days earlier.
When was the last time you talked or texted Crystal?
3 or 4 days ago, I think.
And what was that about?
Just to make sure she was all right.
And that was it. They were done talking. William Elliott was eventually convicted by a jury of aggravated murder, kidnapping, burglary, and tampering with evidence for the 2020 killing of 23-year-old Maria Best. And in August 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole.